Hi, my name is Linn and this is the Darbin Orvar channel, and today we're going to build a workbench counter. So I'm in shop organization mode and I needed to do something with this corner here. I have a bandsaw and a drill press to deal with, and I wanted to have them in a permanent spot that was stable and sturdy and easy to access. So I thought I need a new workbench counter for this area. So I wanted something sturdy and durable, so I decided to go with half-lap joints for the base. The tops are made out of two 2x12s laminated together, and altogether I have a very durable and sturdy counter here that I could either work on or that I can bolt these machines down on and everything will stay in place. So that's really cool. But let's get to building. I started with the two 2x12 pieces of framing lumber. I used my new doweling kit, so I drilled holes and then I lined them up. Drilled more holes on the other board. And then glued the two boards together. The dowels are mostly there to align the boards in place while the glue dries. And then I clamped everything down and let it set up overnight. Initially, I was thinking about laminating a counter together, much like my workbench is laminated together. But after buying the two first pieces of 2x12s and realizing that's exactly the size that I need here, I was thinking, is it really worth it to buy a whole bunch more wood, laminating all them all together and making a much heavier base over here? And I figured no, it's not worth it. So I went with two pieces and laminated those two together. And I think that works out quite well. Next, it was time to work on the legs. I cut up some 4x4 posts to length, and then I started marking out the areas I had to remove. I needed to fit rails measuring 2.5 by 1.5 inches. And since I was going for half-lap joints, I needed the rails to rest within the posts. So I measured out for the two rails to meet within the post, both at the top of the posts to support the workbench top, and at the bottom of the posts to hold the shelf and provide stability. The whole idea with a half-lap is that you carve out part of the post, so the rail sits in a little nook, basically. Next up, I started sawing. It was easier to cut these by hand than to set them up on the tenoning jig on the table saw, because they're too big. It's difficult to safely cut these in any other way. Assuming your piece was properly secured, you could get some of the cut done with a circular saw, but you still have to finish it up with a handsaw. Once the cut was complete, I used a chisel to remove the wood where the rails were going to support the bottom shelf. And I also cleaned up the cut with the chisel. A little fine cleaning can make a big difference to make sure the wood fits well. Next, it was time to deal with the top. So I measured out exactly how long I wanted the bench, 6 feet, and marked that. And again, I cut that part with a handsaw, mainly because it was too heavy to bring the top outside, and I didn't want to add too much dust in the shop by bringing in the circular saw. So I'm at assembly time now, and I flipped my top upside down on the table here. And I'm just kind of laying everything out and seeing how long I should cut the rails and everything, and also trying to adjust for my baseboard because I want the table to go flat towards the wall so there won't be any, space in between here. So this is what this looks like here. So it's cut, there's like one piece left there, and so this piece is going to be in the very corner. So a piece fits in there, and another rail goes right here. And then that's repeated for the shelf here, again with this middle section or this corner section here staying intact on all of the legs. And the rails will just rest. It will be a rail here, resting, and the same thing over here, where they will rest. First, I was thinking about doing miter joints on the corners, but as I'm looking at this, I don't think I really need to. I think it will be, you know, it'll be fine without that. And I think I'm just gonna, you know, do butt joints, cut these off right at the corner. So I'm just kind of measuring everything out now and seeing, you know, how long I should cut the rails here. It kind of feels like a big Lincoln log cabin here. But at the same time, it actually makes it rather easy to assemble because everything has its spot. So as long as you cut all the rails the right size, and then everything just fits together nicely. So that's really cool. I just dry fitted everything and it fits nicely. So I'm gonna take it apart and then put it together the real way. So while everything's down here like this, it's a good time to secure the rails to the top. That will just make everything a little bit more stable for me to assemble. The base here, provide a little more structure, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just doing this temporarily. I'll take it off later on. I'm not going to glue it because you don't want to glue it with contraction and expansion. I'm just going to, you know, pre-drill the holes and put down some screws to attach it all together. I decided to put the rails flush with the top here because I wanted it to be easy to use clamps on here, and also leaving the potential open to use it as a workbench later on if I needed to do that. This is built as sturdy as my main workbench, so this could easily be converted as a main woodworker's workbench without any issues. So once the rails were screwed down and I knew everything fitted well, I glued the legs to the rails and then screwed them in place using 2-inch screws. Once all the legs were in, I did the same to the rails at the bottom, gluing, clamping and screwing everything in place. Clamps are really useful to hold everything in place before you have time to screw it in, and of course you want to make sure everything is nice and square. To add stability as well as a little more height to the whole bench, I decided to screw in a 2x6 at the bottom to raise the work table. I wanted to lift the workbench up so my feet can fit safely underneath when you're standing at the workbench. And next I just had to clean everything up. So this is still a work in progress. I'm working on a shelf down here, and I want to fit my dust, my shop vac, and my air compressor, my small air compressor under here. I'm going to put some doors and as well as some drawers over here. So I'm still working on that. I haven't figured out exactly where I want to place each thing, as well as the wall behind here. You might have seen now that I have a whitewashed wood wall over here, which I'm going to be talking about in my next DarbinNotes update. And I haven't decided what I'm doing on this side, if I'm going to continue that, or I'm thinking about maybe building some kind of storage cabinet up here or something, doing something different anyway that is a little bit more practical. But if you are interested in seeing how I'm going to finish this workbench, the storage and things like that, there will be plenty of updates on DarbinNotes about that. When you build a workbench that you're really going to use, that's a great opportunity to really play with the joinery and do something like a half-lap joints, because they're very strong, and that's exactly what I wanted here. Well, as you saw, you don't actually need any power tools to do this. I mean, I did this by hand, but I mean, you could definitely use a circular saw or something, but often I don't really feel like bringing a circular saw into here, and it gets very dusty, and the pieces are way too heavy sometimes to bring outside, and it's just too annoying. So that's why often I use hand tools, but you could definitely use a circular saw or some other tools to make it easier and save your arms a little bit. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my other channel, DarbinNotes, where I put up all kinds of updates, and there'll be more information about the table as well as the wall and things like that. If this is your first time here, I put out a new video every Friday on the Darbin Orvar channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!